Here it is. Okay. And, all right. So, this is explaining how the dashboard class works. Essentially what we have is, there's a buffer that the dashboard class creates for us, and it's the same for Java and C++. And as we call these add functions, it adds data to the next spot in the buffer, and we can add as much as we want. And then when we're done adding stuff, we make a call to finalize or commit if you're using Java, and it sends all the data in the buffer off to the computer to be read by the dashboard. And at the same time, it clears the buffer so that we're ready to send new data. And so that's just how that class works. We're going to show you the implementation that we have in our code right now is in a function in our CPP file where our robot code is. It's in a function a method that we created called update dashboard or something, dashboard update. And this is a function that's called repeatedly from the tally-up periodic loop. And if you used C++ last year, you know that tally-up periodic is a function that's called every 20 milliseconds or something like that. And so we're having this function being repeatedly called as our robot updates. And so every time a robot updates, we send a whole bunch of data to this, but we've changed the format of the data we're sending to it. So this is going to have to reflect, so our code's going to need to reflect that. How we're going to do this is right before the finalize call, we're going to add two new calls to dash.addDouble. And that's going to ensure that the buffer that we're sending to the dashboard matches the dashboard data type, because that's really the hard part of getting this all to work together. And so we're just going to send it the joystick values, because they're easy to access. And with the C++ library, if you remember from last year, the joystick Y axis is inverted. So we're going to reinvert it. And so if we build and download our code to the robot, hopefully it'll work. We tried it this morning and it worked, so fingers crossed. It turns out we weren't connected to the robot, so we didn't actually download it. So we're going to need to re-download it. So now that we've waited like 10 seconds for it to download, we have to wait 30 seconds for it to reset. And so I guess we'll go back to our dashboard program and run it. Okay. Right. If you remember, we put the call to dashboard update in tally-up periodic, so the dashboard won't receive data in autonomous or disabled mode. So we have to enable the robot before it works. And it looks like we didn't break it. If it does break, there's a huge orange message that pops up behind all your indicators that says the dashboard data type does not match the one being sent from the robot. See the documentation for details. What was that? That can't be good. So yeah, that's the dashboard. Hopefully The dashboard is a really useful tool. I can see it being incredibly useful for tuning PID loops. Again, the console will probably be equally as useful in terms of debugging. It's just whether you want to see a pretty scrolling bar or if you want to see text. But again, during competition, I think we should be able to use custom dashboards, given that there's an option in the driver station that lets you use a custom exe file. So hopefully you'll be able to use something like this during competition to get useful feedback from your robot. Any questions?
Yes. Okay. Is there any way to output, get the variables from different sensors right onto your dashboard? Like read sensor input right onto your dashboard?
Well, the way you do that is read the sensor inputs into your C++ program and then send them to the dashboard in the way that I showed you.
Okay, but if you use actual text instead of bars, pardon me? If you use text instead of bars.
Oh yes, actually I should have demonstrated that. If you look in the user data section down here, run the program again. If you look at the user data section down here, you see where it's saying hello world. If you click log, click the log button. See, it starts scrolling across. So we're sending it hello world with the printf function every update loop. So yeah, you can definitely send text and it'll wind up there. You can choose to either have it remember what you said before or to just use the most recent one with the log button. So yeah.
And we can also put a, if we wanted, we can put an integer value on this as well. It doesn't have to be square.
Yeah, it's a
if you just
normal.
want an exact number, you just put a number on it as well.
It's a normal printf function, just the same way you do it to the console.
And how you had that hello world printed like constantly, could you have it like skip to the next line?
Yeah, you definitely could. We just didn't put that in. Not sure why. Yes.
Last year there was a special class for UK driver station LCD. Did they take that out this year?
No, it's still in there. Actually, if you go to the driver station program, see where it says user messages? That's where the driver station where previously it would come up on the LCD screen. It's going. That's where your output will be coming up.
So it's like the same number of lines before, or that you adjust a specific line addition of
Yeah, it's the same class. Yep.
And I'm guessing you're not allowed to edit the driver station, like this little window at the bottom. Are you allowed to edit anything there?
You mean edit the program itself?
Well, no, add new stuff to like study dashboard, or like remove stuff you don't need.
Well, that's what I was just saying. Using the driver station LCD class that you may have used last year, you can output to the user messages section right over here. There. You can output to that on the driver station. Again, that's text only, so you can't modify the driver station code in any way because they don't give you the source code for it. But anything else? Okay, that pretty much wraps it up. I don't think you guys have any more. All right, so that's pretty much it for beta testing. Any final questions about anything?
Maybe get this, last year they had early release of the hardware. Anything like that happen this year?
I don't think so with the hardware. One thing they were talking about was having Java released early, the Java source code, and have teams be able to program with it. They were going to release it sometime this month, but they've fallen behind in developing libraries, so it's not really ready yet. But they would like to release it sometime before kickoff. But again, they haven't confirmed it with the rest of FRC, so it might get vetoed. Not sure.